Good,
Hold
good,
on.
good.
Now we're
I was
live.
ready to say happy Monday. It's
Happy Monday. It's Tuesday. Happy Monday. It's Tuesday. So I might have to zoom out so you can fully appreciate my shirt. I'm wearing the Nouns eSports shirt, but the reason I'm wearing it is it has the Warpcast W on the sleeve.
Oh. I have on the back.
On the back is amazing. I can't do the spin because it's like not going to work, but it has my name on the back and it's awesome. This is like a professional, like esports player shirt, like the real deal. It's so cool. It also says Nouns Espresso on the side. That's Derek and David. Derek and Drew. Derek and David. And David. Anyway, GM. And happy actually Tuesday. And we should probably tell people to come on in because we're live and they're going to be very confused. But before that,
many app users a notification.
Oh, good. Amazing. Welcome, app users. If you're watching this on the app, well, you can't tell us. Come over to YouTube and tell us you're watching us on the app. Anyway.
Actually, Rish, I'm trying to use the DYOR broadcast and I just got an error. So I'm going to fix that while we do our intro.
All right. We'll be right back in 40 seconds. Welcome to GM Farcaster, bringing you everything from breaking news to spicy memes to the deep lore shaping this vibrant digital community. More than just a show, GM Farcaster is your digital third space where the community connects, the stories unfold, and the culture thrives. Whether you're a daily caster or just dropping by, we've got the latest buzz to keep you plugged in. So grab your coffee and let's dive in with your hosts, Nanish Prof and Adrienne, for another episode of GM Farcaster. Gonna let that linger there for a second. Do you realize what episode this is?
Oh my God, I do, because
250
today. So not
ready for it whatsoever. We've been really like celebrating our big numbers, and we have not with this one whatsoever.
You know what? 250 is like a big number but I feel like you love all the random numbers. So
it's true.
I like the round ones. I will celebrate 250.
Yes, I figured you would. Our next big one. Next week we got 300. I know, 1,000 will be like 5 years. Oh my God. Anyway, can't think about that right now.
Yes, to crypto, don't even think about doing a hyper sub that long.
I think I limited it now because that like sent me when he did that. Like I was pretty shook. I'm like, that's a long time. So yeah, then I limited it. So he's the only one who can ever have that long, I think. Because I think I limited it to like 2 years now with the new one. Anyway, GM, and welcome to the 250th episode of GM Farcaster. Kind of, because technically we have a bunch of other ones that are bonus episodes, but we've done at least that many. So pretty amazing. You're waiting for 269th. Yes, that'll be shortly. 19 from now. We'll celebrate that one as well. And then 300. It just keeps on rolling. We just keep on rolling. Did you get your app to work? Not yet.
Actually, yes.
She's troubleshooting. I could tell she was troubleshooting.
No, it's working. I'm testing cool. And it working. If you have our app saved, you just got a notification that we're live. So that is cool. And I added the
I see the notification. I was looking. Amazing.
And it says you can open in YouTube for the live chat. So if you're watching on our mini app, feel free to stay there. That is fine. If you want to open in YouTube, you'll be able to chat. But all right.
Amazing. All right. I do have the notification and I was able to cast about it very quickly.
Mission accomplished.
Mission accomplished. Amazing. So let's dive in. This almost was my background today, but then I went a different direction. But meat on the timeline. Like, there's a lot of meat. There's a lot of meat because it was a holiday weekend. And we in America, when we celebrate a holiday, we celebrate it with meat. So there you go. It's a little explanation for the Europeans in the group and the Asians who are like, why? Why is there so much steak and sausage and like craziness on my timeline? That's why.
Yes.
There you go.
Meat cooked outside over.
Meat cooked outside. Yes. We return to cavemen. We don't know why. It's just a thing. It's like the Roman Empire stuff. Just don't question it. Just accept it. It is what it is. So anyway, lots of meat on the timeline. Also a lot of best email. That took off yesterday, and this was an incredible engagement farming by Smoking Frog. I mean, like, really well done. If it was on purpose, it was incredible. If it wasn't, also amazing. So everyone started posting their so back in the day, long before it was permissionless and before you could just sign up, you needed an invitation to be here. And the way we got invitations was by DMing Dan for the most part, and then we have a few different ones for the early birds. So this was my message to Dan, and I was told to just say Nownish. And then I did say who directed me there, which was Side Noun. And best email. And then yours was a dissertation. A small dissertation about how you should be here. Come on, load for me. Load for me. Don't do this. Come on.
We finally
That's
got
okay.
wordcast.com to load
I know.
casts really fast. And
I know. And now we're backwards, but I had saved this, so I have an overlay. So on the right-hand side of your screen is Adrienne's. On the left side is mine. And it was just funny. I just thought that was so funny. How long you're like
I sent Dan my resume. I was like,
resume. Yeah. So funny. And most other people, it was just, can I get an invite? But you went above and beyond. I cannot get anything to load right now. Goody.
We could just talk about Farcaster Pro or channels.
We'll just talk about all the things. Oh, here we go. Now it's coming back. Because some of these were really funny. Hey, Dan, I wanted to ask you about best email. I thought that was really good. And then Kyle Patrick, I can't pull this up. This is going to be one of those days. Kyle Patrick was like, you guys had to get an invite. I had to pay $5. Wait, here it is. Y'all are getting invites. You're all getting best emails. I paid $5 to be on Farcaster. We are not the same. But we love you. We love you for that. And for all who came later, we love you for that. Links, unlike you guys, I met Dan in the bathroom, turning the best email into the bathroom meme, which also very funny. And then, of course, I mean, you see a meta, you clank the meta. I mean, hello. So SBE, best email became a token. Now, I mean, do I have to continuously say this is a bad idea? Don't buy it. But okay, please. There you go. There you go. This is risky. This is cryptocurrency tends to drift to zero with a few exceptions. So, be careful out there, people.
Are there exceptions?
There are exceptions. They're called Bitcoin and Ethereum.
Okay,
yeah, there are exceptions. There are many, but there are exceptions. And Solana, I'll give you Solana.
I didn't get a chance to read the white paper for SBE last night, so I haven't yet aped in.
I believe it was this. This is the white paper. Yeah, that was the white paper on SBE. The funnier ones were the V, the very elusive V invite from Varun. This is super early days. This was from Linda. It included a whole hit Command Alt I console. I mean, this is like super, super, super early. Same thing with Rish. Rish and Dan onboarded Manan with the same sure best email thing. Manan just sent me the .dmg immediately. Apparently he wasn't supposed to. We then onboarded members of Coinbase Wallet team, which we also weren't supposed to do. Dan then did a video call with the whole team. This was in 2021. So that was pretty amazing. We tried to get Coinbase to build on Farcaster in 2022. Didn't work. So we left and started building on Farcaster ourselves with Nanar. Base realized in 2024 it was up and started building on Farcaster using Nanar. Still early. That's a pretty fun, like, little journey if you think about that. Yeah, it's some nice lore there.
Good Farcaster lore.
Especially if you think about, like the Coinbase Wallet team having such early access, but doing nothing. And now it's going to probably end up being the biggest client. So very interesting. So that was fun. It was fun to see everybody's emails. And I took, so that you can see my background, this took me way too long. This was dumb. I don't know why I spent so much time on this, but I was having fun. I took all the sure best emails, and these are from people's real casts. So I grabbed all the different ones and clipped them and put them in my background. So there you go. Sure, best email. And moving on, we did have the shift from Warpcast back to Farcaster. And there was a couple things we didn't get to talk about. We talked about it happening, but then there was a couple things that dropped afterwards. This was one of those things, and it was just really cute because Miguel, we love what you do. And then this was from V. Do you remember Fatline? No, you do not. You know why? Because he protected us from it, but I can't get it to come up. It's gonna be a day. It is gonna be a day. So that there was a fat line option that was possibly going to happen. I don't know if you remember that. Farcaster
that was the name. That was going to be the name of the app.
Exactly. And SDS, I believe, was the one who saved us from that. So thank you, SDS. Again, we thank you for your service, because otherwise this could have gotten really ugly. I think I posted at one point, GM fat line was never happening. It was never going to happen. GM Warpcast was really not going to happen either. I don't think they ever considered that as a possibility. Yeah, this does not want to come up. Nothing wants to come up right now. Fantastic. Give me a moment while I bring this stuff up. We had a couple other pieces of news that we needed to dive into before we got into Pro, but let me see if I can get these to come up. Love it when things just don't load. It's super fun when you're live. It's really cool. All right, let's talk about Pro. Dan's been talking about this for a little bit, and then last week dropped a message towards the end of last week saying that Pro was going to launch today, and it was going to be an NFT. Here it is. PSA, Farcaster Pro will launch on Tuesday. There will be a limited edition NFT for the 1,000 subscribers. $120 a year, no monthly option to start. Pay with USDC or Warps, only if you have them. No reason to buy more. We will collect funds centrally, then register in the contract once it's live. We'll have badges on day one and at least one new Pro only feature available next week. So that was the very small announcement. And then what happened was we all went, 1,000? That's it? And well, to quote Phil here, wow, that's going to be a bloodbath. You should do an auction. Would be crazy to sell $1,120 subscriptions to 37 users. You'd think. Except, and then it said, where can I mint? So what happened was people read NFT, 1,000 NFTs, and they thought about the NFT behind you. That was 938 NFTs that at one point became worth a lot of money. So people started to think about this in a speculative manner. And we all know that this was going to turn out bad if there wasn't a shift. So he did make the shift to 10,000 of these NFTs, or not NFTs, 10,000 subscriptions would be sold today, starting at 1 p.m. Pacific time. There will be an NFT that will be dropped after the fact. So you're not going to be purchasing an NFT. This should help with the speculative thing that hopefully folks won't just be snapping up NFTs just for the sake of the NFT and then trying to sell it. It's really going to be a commemorative thing that will be dropped to you afterwards. So you'll be buying the subscription and then you'll get an NFT that will go with it. So this is from Dan. Finally got this to come up as I've already explained it. This is latest on Farcaster Pro. So this was yesterday. This is the latest. Here's everything you need to know. Launches today, Tuesday, May 27th, after 1 p.m. Pacific, which is 4 p.m. Eastern. That mostly was for my own brain. First 10,000 subscribers will receive an NFT at a later date. It's the same NFT for everyone, one subscription per FID. You must use the Farcaster mobile app to subscribe, USDC or warps, one or the other, no combinations. 3, there are no other benefits to the NFT. Actually, let me back up for a second. That means you should probably make sure you have USDC in your warplet. I'm assuming that's going to be helpful. It's a benefit for, so there are no other benefits to the NFT. It's a benefit for Farcaster Pro. If you end up buying an NFT on the secondary market, there's no secret benefit. In other words, do not speculate on the NFT that goes with this. 4, if you have any hesitations about Farcaster Pro, 120 annually, only day one feature is a badge and an NFT, then do not subscribe. There are no refunds. We'd like to add 10,000K character cast and up to 4 images in the near future, but you should only subscribe tomorrow if you're excited about it. So in other words, if you're crazy, then join us. It's one price globally. The goal here is to maximize revenue for the protocol, and 100% of the revenue will go to creator and developer rewards. 6, it's optional. No benefit to reach, visibility, or rewards. You don't have to subscribe. And then there was a little bit more here. Why ship Farcaster Pro with just a badge? Why not wait till other benefits are ready? Again, it's optional. And let me see if I can pull that up. It's optional. If you think that's dumb, you can either wait to subscribe or just skip subscribing completely. 2, for startups, every day you delay something matters. Every time you say this thing is different and worth delaying, you degrade your one true advantage as a startup, speed. It compounds. And then a few years later, when it ultimately doesn't work out, you likely missed out on something like 100% more opportunities to ship. Action produces information. Love that. That's a Brian Armstrongism. Your pre-product market fit startup is not Apple. Okay. Thoughts on Pro? I think that covers everything, but will you be purchasing?
Yeah,
she
of course.
Stupidly.
Yeah, well, listen, we covered this last week before, of course. Can't wait. I don't, yes, take my money.
Take my money. Yeah.
There's so little talk about the fact that this is going, the 100% of the proceeds are just going back into the ecosystem to reward developers and creators. So that's easy. And I'm all in on all the experiments. Plus I need a badge.
I need a badge. I just want a badge. That's what it comes down to. Also, I've earned enough. I've earned way more than that in creator rewards already. And I had to send a W-9 or whatever to Ted.
To Ted?
Yes, you? I did. She did DM me, and she also emailed me. Both things. And I did fill out the form. plus even on I was thinking about this on amps. I've made like over $500 or something crazy. So like between the, the funds that I've earned already on Farcaster that are not even directly, that are just related to me just casting is, more than worth it. Plus, I really could use the 4 images and the 10K. So I realize it's not available immediately, but I will use those.
You guys can keep your 10K. I don't want the 10K.
I know.
I've never
I
been
know.
a fan of long casts. Dig up the transcripts. I
was
fought
just gonna
that.
say, we've had this conversation.
We already have long casts. We don't need longer.
They're called paragraph. Yeah.
Go ahead. Write a book. I don't care, but not on Farcaster. Anyway, but I'll take the 4 images and yeah, I'm excited. And I guess I the only thing I would add though, if you're excited about it, like sure, do it. I really think it should be reinforced that if you have doubts, like if you don't know exactly why you're doing it, it is okay to sit this out. Like you don't need to get in on day 1. This is not the only time you're going to be able to upgrade. It's like I think he wanted to start with 1,000 to try it out. Seemed like there's going to be more demand, but I can't imagine. I don't think he's trying to force scarcity, like where there's only going to be 10,000 ever. Like I'm sure smart business people will
probably
find a
be
way
available
to take your money.
Anybody at some point, but wanted to like limit the first launch to make sure. You always do that, to just test to make sure things are working properly and all that kind of fun stuff. So here's my thing about this. I am not looking to write dissertations in every cast. What I personally would like slightly longer is because every once in a while when I'm casting about GM Farcaster, I have to go back and trim something out because even the links are very long. So I'll think I'm good. I put the link in and then I'm over. So that's all. It's small things. I really want more ability to tag more people is my big thing. But these are a prof problem that pretty much nobody else experiences. These are just prop problems. Yeah. So one of the other things he mentioned, the purple badge is going away. That was the halo, the purple halo currently that we have for funding your wallet. So this was a way to like give people a way to flex that they funded their wallet when that first launched, and they're taking that away. But we'll have something new, some kind of badge, some kind of return of the power badge situation happening. I did like this. This was funny. How it feels after GM Pro. The Faristocracy is back. But this was in response to Murtaza explaining to my wife that I will be setting aside money to buy Farcaster Pro. It's funny. And I really love this from Horsefacts. Live look at the line outside the Venice Boulevard Farcaster store. Looks like at least 50 people so far. Back in the days of the waiting for the new iPhone kind of thing. Although, what this reminded me of, which the youngins will never comprehend, waiting outside to get concert tickets. And we used to do that. And I waited up. I can't even, this just popped in my head. Waiting outside the Sears in Brockton, Massachusetts, where nobody should be, where no teenage girl should be at 3 a.m. ever. And I was there getting tickets for Bon Jovi. There you go.
It's proof of work.
It's proof of work. Exactly. This from Phil, moving on to other things. Well, before I do that, anything else on Pro? I mean, it's pretty straightforward.
Yeah, but today, 1 p.m. Pacific or around then, it'll be launching. And I just think it's fun because I like when the timeline talks about one thing.
Yeah.
It's just fun.
Although they've talked about multiple things, but yes.
It's fine.
But mostly that. Mostly that. So speaking of one of those other things that they were talking about, but this was last week and it feels like it was a zillion years ago. And that's one of my comments back to Phil was, don't worry, we'll move on. And this was from Phil, do not recommend becoming main character for a day, back to building. And this was, Phil had launched or was about to launch let me rephrase that. Said he was going to launch a token. And that was mistake number one. As somebody heard that. That's somebody being Borodutch, and Borodutch went, oh, cool. Let's do a pre-coin. So there was a pre-coin that dropped. We talked about this. This was on Friday, that it was coming. I think it hadn't launched yet by the time we had the show. So what follow hadn't happened, but I said, yes, I bought some because I wanted to see the mechanism of the pre-coin mini app. Did not expect this to do any numbers, was not speculating on my generational wealth in any way, shape, or form. And in your exact response to the whole thing, when I said it was risky, you said it was dumb.
I mean,
dumb
you'll have
was
to
the
check
word.
the transcripts, but I think I said dumb.
Dumb was the word.
Nothing personal against anyone. I made sure Borodutch love you, but it's dumb. It just sounded dumb to me. It's like, what we're gonna.
Well,
it was about as dumb as like sending, like ETH to a contract address that someone just posts on Twitter for no reason. Just seems dumb.
Which that's exactly, so that's what we were talking about. That's exactly what you used to do for pre-sales, is you were they were literally like put it in a spreadsheet or whatever, and you would be like sending to this contract, and it was just ridiculous because you weren't getting anything back until the token launched. So you were literally sending people money on the internet, people you did not know at all.
Strangers on the internet.
And it went badly many times.
That you can totally trust.
Totally trust. Okay. So this seemed like a little better mechanism. It is. It's still not a good idea, just to be clear. But this was, you could send it to this pre-coin. You were buying a coin. So what was interesting as the day went on is that the pre-coin started going up in value.
Right. So you're buying a coin as opposed to like buying a spot in a spreadsheet.
Exactly. So it's a little bit different, because what was interesting is that the pre-coin started to go up in value. So I made the mistake at one point of going, I should really at least take out what I put in. And I was like, oh, I'll do half. And that was my, I really should have listened to that voice, because that was the smart thing to do. And I kind of knew that, but I was like, oh, but maybe I'll be wrong. So anyway, I was right. So here's what happened. A lot of people misunderstood the contract, but we're going to do this. This is from Jason Kim. This is the other part of this pre-coin mini app. Quick retro on today's first pre-coin to coin launch. This didn't really go amazing. Understatement. And I apologize for making a lot of changes to refine the idea. 1, we built pre-coin because we wanted a tool way for people to speculate on someone launching a coin before it launches. 2, pre-Phil started because we saw on the timeline that Phil was going to launch a clanker. Phil has no affiliation. Pre-coin is permissionless. That's really important, by the way. He had no idea they were going to do this.
It doesn't matter, right? Like, is that
No.
Phil gets dragged through the mud anyway when something goes wrong?
Exactly. 3, people put money, with my co-founder Borodutch having a 45K stake, the largest on Farcaster, into pre-Phil to get access to Phil's launch. 4, pre-coin worked as designed, and our system automatically bought W as soon as it launched. 4th block, 7 seconds post-launch. However, we were the 13th transaction, and it got sniped 12 times before we market bought. Okay, so the idea of this is, as soon as the coin launches, the buy from the pre-coin immediately buys early token. So the idea is, hopefully you're getting in immediately, but they got in at the 4th block. People are confused as to why they put in $100 into pre-coin and they got $10. Yeah, that's confusing. In W, it's not a 10-to-1 allocation. This is partially because of the snipers, and partially because the pre-coin coin allocation wasn't ever 1-to-1, but proportional to the amount in pre-coin LP. So if you had 10% in pre-coin supply, you get 10% of whatever the market bought amount would be in the Clanker coin. Today, that was 7.5 billion in total supply in Clanker. bought by Precoin. We did communicate that over and over again, but could have made that way more clear for users in designs, etc. In other words, you need a little pop-up that says, this is what you're doing. We underestimated snipers when we were testing internally with test coins, etc., etc. So there was a lot of talk of this is a rug, etc. So you can see this from two sides. You can see this from two sides. One is, yes, they could have made it clear how it was working, but it worked the way it was supposed to, the way it was designed. And then the other side is, this is a snipe. You might be the snipers. You might be the bots who bought before this, and you bought, like thinking that it's being manipulated in some way. Okay, go ahead.
No, I'm being educated because
okay. So that was there
I was busy not paying attention to this on Friday.
There was a contingent that was very much of the mindset that there was something shady that occurred. I am of the mindset that this worked the way it was supposed to. You may not have fully understood how it was going to work. And the other part of this is because there was knowledge that it was going to happen ahead of time, and so much speculation that like the things changed a lot because of the high amount of people who bought into the pre-coin. But the big thing is that you then alert the bots and the people who do snipe that this is going to be a good one to snipe. So that was a bigger issue as well. There's been a lot of like speculation on what's the best way to launch a token on Clanker because of that sniper thing, that there's only so much you can do about it to prevent it. So there is a like way that if you kind of stealth launch it, you can kind of let the bots fight their way out of it, and then you sort of announce it after the fact. So there's plus and minus to that too, because then people would be like, oh well, you told insiders or whatever, and it's like, well, no. But so I've seen a few people launch it in different ways and think about it in different ways, and I think that's probably your best bet, because you can see what happens when everybody on the timeline knows you're launching something. Before you do, it becomes a bigger problem. The other thing that was getting pushback or complaints that I saw was the fact that there was a notification, and I forgot to pull this because I was casting about this because it was funny to me. There was a notification that kept popping up to tell you how many people were buying. It's one notification, but it's refreshing as new people are buying in. So the number's going up. So when I first cast, I'm like, oh my God, there's 26 people that have bought this. Within minutes, there was 600 and something people. And I was like, okay, what are you guys doing? But that was why, because they kept seeing and that's the plus and minus of the social graph being tied into this. So here's my 2 cents. Like, just, it's on you. Like, this is a buyer beware situation. In anything in crypto is, and stop blaming other people for if you made this choice, it didn't work out great. I have seen no evidence that it was anything other than the usual snipers there are people who have bot set up to buy every single clanker, like it automatic buy. So that's what it seemed like to me. It did not seem like anything super shady. It did seem like a risky proposition, but there you go. My 2 cents. Thoughts?
Well said.
Adrienne's like, I told you all not to buy it, so it's on you.
Yeah, it's like the same old shit every day, slightly different story. So
yeah.
What more can I add to it? I think you captured it very well.
So this was funny. Was there were people started posting about back in my day, rugged men, and this is from Burberry. Back in my day, rugged meant the dev deleted all the socials, one clipped the chart. One clip means you're dumping on the chart, and left this love note in place of the website. We scammed you guys and you can't do shit about it. This is the actual thing that happened. So there you go. And then this was another one that y'all might remember back in my day. This is from JC. Rugged mint. One of the founders died during the mint, was resuscitated via miracle, and then died again the following night. This is again a
awesome.
died twice. Died twice. This is what we call a real rug. And then, of course, the rug of all rugs. The rug of all rugs, Kevin. Back in my day, rug meant a company raising 70 million on 3 ETH mints and the promise of making a AAA quality game, only to reveal this. And this is Pixelmon, for those who may not remember. And that guy's name is literally Kevin. It's in the traits. His name is Kevin. We still don't know why. We have no idea why his name is Kevin, but it is. So, this is like the real rugging of all things. This is really funny too, from Z Willow. Seems appropriate for the events of the day when your friend loses money in crypto and says you were the one who told him about it. Ooh, me? And some advice from Priyanka. Play with only what you can afford to lose. Hello. I mean, exactly.
Evergreen.
Evergreen.
And play. Let's emphasize the word play. She didn't say invest only what you can afford to lose. Like this is not serious things. It's just it's play. If you want to play responsibly, and 1-800-GAMBLER if you have an addiction or whatever it is. But
whatever it is, she's just making making up numbers.
I've driven through Atlantic City. I've seen the billboards.
It's probably right. It's probably right. You're probably there. It might work. This is funny too. She also noted, I imagine 6529 is tired of repeating himself. So Punk 6529 famously always says, I want to emphasize, you should only buy what you like with money you can afford to lose. FOMO is both real in this space, happens to everyone, but keep in mind how many other cool JPEGs are incoming, and chill. So that's the big thing, is like the FOMO will get you. The FOMO will get you. You move fast, you make a mistake, you see it in a notification, you don't want to miss out, and then here you are. You lose your money. So don't do that. Just don't do that. All right, let's move on. We've got a couple more things to chat about. This from Octant. It's Farcaster Spring Retropgf season, but apps close 30th of May, 12 p.m. EDT. Don't sleep on it. If your project has made a meaningful impact on Farcaster, now's the time to shine. To apply, post in the Octant channel, include, very important, you need to include this hashtag, Farcaster PGF Spring 2025. Just go and copy paste so you don't mess it up. 1 nomination per person, so you are limited, and they are now open in the Octant channel. So go like the ones that you like. And for your consideration, a couple that we'd like to highlight. This from Adrienne, a submission for the GM FC 101 AI bot. So go take a look at that. And if you are so inclined, give it a like and a recast. And same with our cast out application. So for those who may not realize, like, we do get sponsors to cover the prize pool, but I'm just doing it for the love at the moment. So this would be fantastic. And we'll go towards us creating the next one. Yeah. So, and there's lots of amazing applications. So go check out the Octant channel right here. Ooh, why am I not following it? I totally was following it. That's weird. If you just scroll through anything in here that you feel is a good submission, you just like, or recast or comment, and that will go towards who wins. So you can go check out the standings on rounds.wtf as well, if you would like to see where people are coming in. Anything else to say about that, by the way? About your bot in general? Your bot is getting
Let's talk about retro. Let's talk about retro rounds for people who are new to Farcaster, crypto, Ethereum. From my background, I did not really know what a Retropgf round was until I learned about it from the DAO world. So can we just do a quick 60-second what it is?
Go ahead. Do you want to go ahead or you want me to? Okay, go ahead.
I don't know. You're the prof.
I know, but it's so Retropgf stands for retroactive public goods funding. So just to make that clear, and the idea behind this particular round is things that have benefited the Farcaster ecosystem. I believe if you are VC funded or for profit and actually making profit, you might be for profit and early. May not count. That's what we're primarily funding for this particular one. Purple has been doing rounds like this since their existence. Much smaller. This is the biggest one they've done because they do have Octant on here, as well as anyone who donated through the mini app. And Dan, I believe, has put in 1 ETH as well, himself personally. So this is a bigger round that we normally see. And it's the idea is for those, especially those who are doing like the nights and weekends kind of thing, the side projects, but are contributing to the overall ecosystem and creating things that are cool and new and beneficial. This is a way to support those efforts. So
yeah, public
and it's
good
things
being
you've
like
already done. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. It's retro. So it's not a, hey, I'm
Yeah.
going to put up a proposal for you to fund me for something I'm going to do in the future.
Right.
It is work you've done that benefits Farcaster. So it doesn't benefit you personally, but it's like something you've done that is a public good for the entire network that other people take benefit from. And it's a way to give recognition to people who are kind of going, again, not necessarily, not funded, like it's not their like company work doing it so much or VC funded or but you're contributing to that work and it's a way to recognize all the good people who are contributing.
Yep. And who are doing, and this was our very first bit of revenue for GM Farcaster came from a purple round back in just like a little over a month after we started. So it can also be very encouraging if you're working on something and people are appreciating it and you're getting a lot of likes on that. That can be super helpful. It like keeps you going when sometimes
It's like the
hard.
little recognition. It's great. And purple is the DAO that whose mission, whose entire mission is proliferate, support, like grow the Farcaster ecosystem. And
Exactly.
it gets revenue through a daily auction. So there's a daily purple token that you can auction. If you don't have one, you should get one. It's a great way to support. And then funds go, and then the DAO votes on how the funds are used. But the goal is to kind of help support Farcaster, the protocol.
Exactly.
And Octant as well is, their whole deal is using rewards and yield that they're getting from staking ETH and putting it back into the Ethereum ecosystem through public goods funding.
Exactly. And they have another epoch that is happening as well right now, which we'll talk more about tomorrow. I'll pull one of those casts for tomorrow. But so Octant, this is sort of their wheelhouse, and this is really increasing the amount of rewards that are available. So again, if you've created something, you've created a mini app, you've created something that contributes to the Farcaster ecosystem, make sure you go put your application in. And I think the last day is the 30th, which is Friday. So also, if you are a member of Purple or you donated within the frame to this round, I believe that also gives you access to a vote. So only those likes are the ones that will qualify for the round. But also, even if you aren't a member, but you want to amplify something you see that you feel is deserving, you can always recast as well.
Okay. Just easy in crypto. LOLs been negativity funded so far in my years of raising awareness for public goods. Does that mean you're losing money? I don't know what that means, but I think
negativity funded. I'm not sure.
Negativity funded? I don't know, but keep at it. Sure. And I think advice for those who are putting up projects. So if you've done a public goods project, in your proposal, be really explicit about what you've built. People who are reading this probably, if they're not following you or catching up, or, be explicit about what you've built and the impact, why it's good for Farcaster. Make a good
You did great with that, by the way.
proposal. And
this is really good. This is really well done.
Feel free to use my format.
I saw it afterwards and I was like, oh, this is a better way.
This is the what I built, why I built it, which is like the impact, how I built it, effort in terms of like, because I've also put in, the time to do it. There's infrastructure costs. I haven't put that out, but invitation.
Yeah.
So feel free to.
Yeah. And I did it, and you've also made it open source as well on top of that.
Oh, I should have added that.
Yeah.
Yes, it is a public good now. Go.
Yeah.
Everyone can have a bot.
Yeah. So she built it and made it open source. So that's like perfect definition of public good for sure.
Oh, and this. Okay. So this is negativity, meaning you've donated more than you've raised. So you're putting in more than you're getting out.
Same. Overall. Same.
Same.
We feel you. But yeah, I mean, and so we need patrons, right? You always need the patrons who are donating, who are making these things possible. And that's part of what Purple does. So if you're a member of Purple, then you've actually donated to this already. And or you could donate to the mini app that was available for a little bit that was specifically for this particular round, which I did as well. So
I mean, we could have a whole conversation about private and public goods right now, and the role of governments and
it's a whole thing
in the world. But I mean, I think also if you're looking to like public goods and grants are not necessarily the best way to like create your livelihood.
Not sustainable. Yeah, it's not sustainable. It's useful for new things, I feel like, recognition of, because then it can also drive additional funding, where some of the very early projects on Farcaster, same kind of thing, got early funding from Purple and were able to move on and get it. I'm thinking something like Ponder or whatever, or Bracky, are able to then move on and get some more sustainable funding to keep going. So it definitely, it will only get you so far, but it is definitely a huge recognition for things that you've done on the side. So there you go. Okay, we've got a couple more things that we want to dive into. All right, I forgot to pull the Balaji cast to make this make sense. I kind of pulled the aftermath of the Balaji cast. So let me set this up. Balaji coined the cover of his book, I believe, first. And the network state, and it launched a coin on Zora.
Because it's Zora.
Because it's Zora.
It's a content, right? Because you put it on Zora and it launches.
Yeah. So it automatically launches. So there was a discussion about why it was dumping. So there was a whole back and forth about why is this coin dumping, and there was a discussion again about after he launched this one, he launched like a whole bunch after that, close in time, and that shifted liquidity as it can do. But again, he was treating this like it's a content coin. It's not a meme coin that you should be speculating on, but of course people speculate on it. So this is what happened. But what I was laughing about with this was we did at Farcaster, we're finally having the same arguments crypto Twitter has, because they're arguing back and forth about whether or not a content coin is the purposes of it. And there was a few comments on this. This was from Dan. The fundamental problem to solve with personal tokens creator coins is the psychological effect of a significant price decline. One, most people are not equipped to manage a liquid, global, 24/7 traded asset. Two, current norms are that if someone buys an asset, they expect the person, team, organization behind that asset are incentivized long-term to make that asset more valuable. In other words, yo, bro, when you going to update the DEX, is literally one of the first things that you will see as soon as you launch a coin. As anyone who has launched a clanker has seen, especially if it takes off at all. 3, when there's a significant price decline, most creators will be overwhelmed by the hole they now need to dig themselves out of. Layer on a bunch of angry, pseudonymous people screaming at them on the internet. Or additionally, what happens when you want to stop creating, like Outdoor Boys
Remember
recently did.
points?
Yeah.
It was like, I'm out.
I'm out. Never to be seen again.
Sorry, that was.
I saw him recently on here. I was like, oh, hey, Mathis.
You're back.
Good to see you. Good to see you. 4, additionally, what happens when you want to stop creating, like Outdoor Boys recently did. Contrast to a publicly traded company where the founder retires, the value still continues to accrue. That's like with any small business, small creator, though. Possible ways to change this: invent new asset that's time bound, closer to a prediction market or an option. I'm speculating on X during period Y. 2, change norms, culture. This is super slow. That's what has been, that's been the attempt. So that's why you see, so we saw this whole discussion when Base launched the coin thing, and it went crazy and people lost their minds. And then Jesse kept launching other coins, and that was the way to try and move the needle of changing the culture, that this doesn't have to be just speculative. It can just be a thing that you do when you put something on chain, which is the way that Zora worked when it was NFTs, and nobody really flipped out about it. It was, yes, some of those even popped off. There were definite ones that Base did that popped off when they were NFTs. So it wasn't that different, except it feels different. And that's where we're at. So, thoughts?
You can just predict my thoughts. So I'm not going to say them. I was cracking up when I did see, I didn't even notice, by the way, I didn't think we were having the same conversations on Farcaster because I thought we were smarter. But I did see on Twitter, like, oh my God, Balaji launched a token. I'm like, no, he didn't. Like, he coined a piece of content. He coined the cover of his book.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
So if you're, again, aping in there because you're going to speculate, like, that's, I don't know how to help you.
Because you haven't learned. You've learned nothing.
If you want to buy it because you want a piece, I've read the network state. I love it. I'd be happy to own some of that coin just to have, but it's.
I think I own an NFT of the cover. I feel like he did that.
Oh yeah,
way back when he launched it, right?
Yes.
Yeah.
If you pre-ordered the book and on Twitter he he did give you an NFT. Yeah, I don't even need a coin. I own it.
Yeah. I'm pretty sure I have that. I'm not positive, but yeah, I'm pretty sure it was an NFT. But yeah, it was the same. And I had that same feeling of like, oh, I should just, and then I was like, you know what? I'm not even going to get into this because I think it's going to crash, and I'll just wait until it goes to almost.
Yeah. And it does feel like, in terms of culture, right? It just does feel we're in the phase now of what norms were in the past few years about tokens and coins, where you're shifting to, which is like everything is a token and everything is a market. And that can be there's a, you can kind of paint like a very negative and dark view of what that world looks like, or it just is what it is. And I don't know, you kind of,
I don't know how we're going to get there. It's to change is messy. And, because I've been thinking about this a lot. Like, we have our cast out token. I was getting ready to launch another token for the current season, changed my mind. That was mostly due to timing with proxy. And I just, you know what, I'm going to not do that right now. But I've thought about like a GM Farcaster token. We've talked about this, like, and it hasn't made sense. I feel like it's getting closer to making sense. For one reason is that there's more things that are integrating tokens. So, for example, if you've seen Empire is pretty cool. There's a lot of way to reward people who are holders. It's a pretty cool tool that has other things built in. When I was looking at Noise, the tipping, it makes the most sense to me, that kind of thing, if you can use your own token or like other tokens that you hold a lot of. Like it could be DGen because it was airdropped to you, whatever. It makes more sense to me than using USDC. Like to use your own token or whatever it's an interesting way to kind of mimic what DGen was able to do in terms of distribution. So like I think we're getting to a point where it might make more sense, but it still comes with all of this craziness that makes you go, "Oh, is it worth it?" So we could do this and we could do this thing, but is it worth it? And that's where we need to get to a point where you don't have this negative repercussion. You're muted. You're muted.
Oh, sorry. I just said, what will the token do?
What will the token do? Exactly. I know. So Dan, if you haven't heard, every time somebody asks Dan, is Farcaster going to launch a token? His answer back is always, what would the token do? And I feel like we're getting closer to the point where the token does do more things now on Farcaster. Is it enough? Probably not. But we're
Totally
getting there.
disagree.
We're getting there. I really do.
Yeah.
I really do think so. We're getting there. But it's still not, it's still until there's less
But why? I just feel like, why do you
negativity.
need a Farcaster token? There's
You
tons of
don't.
other tokens throughout the ecosystem.
You
Like, I
don't.
don't also need a Farcaster one unless it
No.
was somehow giving me equity in a company and it acted like a stock. Then I'd be like, oh, okay, that sounds interesting, but it won't. So it
Right.
feels completely.
Which reminder, it won't. Coins are not stocks, they're slot machines. Yeah. I mean, yeah.
Yeah.
So it's again, there's another place you can put a coin, warp slot. Yeah, there's so I think depending if you are, VC funded, all of that, like you probably don't need to do any of that. I think there's been some interesting, I've watched like what QR has done, and in terms of like how they're now rewarding in their token, like that's, they're starting to find a good flywheel there, which is good. So I think there's some instances and some experiments that are working very well, but for the most part, it's going to be, what Balaji has had to deal with.
Yeah. And
yeah.
Anyway, and to be clear, I'm not anti-token. I come across like super skeptical all the time, but the problem is the speculators, right? So like I think it's cool. We have maybe there's a GM Farcaster token that we have a community. People like why am I wearing GM Farcaster on my shirt? Like, why do I have any, like, you identify and associate with communities. And I think that's great. The problem are the speculators, right? So then it becomes when you're attaching like an arbitrary price to something that's denominated in a stable value, store of value,
right?
Then you've got this psychology that just messes people up. So it just feels like a distraction.
Yep, it can be. It definitely can be a distraction. Another token that, there are a few like betters. That's a good one. That's been interesting to watch that play out. There's been, a few recently where they're what I would call project tokens that are very interesting.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's along the lines of creator tokens as well. Did have Garrett had some good thoughts on this too. We shouldn't get mad at people experimenting with tokens. We must take tokens off of the pedestal, which I think that would be helpful. They're not all the same. And just because people have interacted EITJ tokens in a certain way in the past doesn't mean that's the way everyone will interact with tokens in the future. Just because we coin something doesn't inherently give it any additional value. It merely gives it the ability to be valued. So, and that was, a response. We've got to stop getting mad for people experimenting with tokens. It's just because where we are still with the culture. And the funny thing is that, and I've had this conversation a couple times with Jesse, with Dan, when Zora made their shift of like, oh, this is going to be rocky. Like, you're going to have problems. And we've had that conversation, and it does play out that way for sure. There are tokens 24/7, just some small bad news, and people overreact and things get into an endless spiral. Yeah, exactly. That's the big thing. I think another thing that isn't talked about is the stock market isn't open 24/7. While they are momentum assets, people can sleep on things, have a weekend, etc. Yeah, and coins are not. So that's a plus and a minus, right? Mostly a minus.
Yeah, that is a bug, that's a bug. That's a defect,
bug
not
and
a feature.
Kind of.
Right.
Yeah. This was really okay. This was funny. Let me go back a couple things and I'll show you in a sec. Okay. So this was funny. So Moon Poppy had said content coins. Each creator has one main token with all their content will be paired with quoted in. All their content still coinable. Whenever you like something, you must pay for it in the creator's token. A tax gets transferred to the creator in content coin, in which they can use to sell the content coin or in their creator coin. Generates volume 3 ways on the creator coin. I don't know, something like that. Somehow the NFT people didn't consider provenance wild, right? I need everyone on base to win to grow the pie. Please, bro. People are fading things literally because they're on base. We are proving them correct 99% of the time. Jesse said someone needs to translate in girly pop way. And this was the funny one. This is the funny part. Content coins, girly pop edition. Babes, picture content coins like the sparkly charm bracelet. Every scene queen rocked on Mindspace. This is interesting thought process. Every hottie with a hobby gets one. Oh my God, so iconic. A token. Think of it as their personal hit me baby one more time signal. All their picks, bids, spicy takes get quoted in that coin. Smashing that like button. It's not just likes. Your wallet slips a little bit of the creator's coin their way. A teeny glam tax skims off the top and lands in the creator's thank you next stash, which they can flip for their big girl creator coin cash cha-ching. Fans buying to like, creators cashing out, traders chasing the hype. That's 3 flawless ways their coins keep popping off. More volume than a crimped hair comeback. Provenance is hot, but I guess we forgot that. Folks keep dodging base like it's last season's juicy tracksuit and have only been proved right. Okay, I just thought that was very funny. But I do think that there's something to that in terms of like I think the idea of creator coins is correct in a lot of ways and it makes a lot of sense. It's a fact that all the speculation turns it into such a nightmare that we just can't quite get there to where it makes more sense. So there you go.
Yeah.
We'll keep experimenting.
And luckily for us, it'll take like years to figure out, so we can just keep talking about it 3 times a week for 29 minutes.
Pretty much. Pretty much. This is one other thought, and I haven't dove into this too much in terms of thinking about it. What if the right way to think about project coins isn't as equity, but as bonds? Obviously, the infrastructure needs to exist, but I haven't seen anyone talking about this analogy. Equity investors are loath to dilute ownership, but perhaps this is the right path forward for projects that raise via tokens. So another thought, this is in response to Telegram secures 330 million in bond sales. So I don't know. I don't know much about bonds, so I don't know how to think about that. There might be something there. I'm not sure. But I do think there's going to have to be.
I'm married to a former bond trader, so if you,
I know, ask him
if he would ever come on camera. He won't.
He won't. But ask him. Ask him his thoughts on this. I'd love to get his. I'd love to get his thinking.
Happy to.
Yeah. Or like, what's the way in which tokens could be used like bonds that might make sense? I guess is the question. Anyway, all right. One last thing. One last discussion that we had. Oh, go ahead. What were you going to say?
I'm sitting on something too.
Okay.
No.
What was this?
Oh my God, we didn't even talk about channels.
We didn't talk about channels.
We're over an hour.
I know. So we're gonna touch on this quickly and then continue the discussion on the timeline. The challenge with channels is there's no consensus on what they should be. Distribution versus niche interest. This is from Dan. Open but tons of mod work versus closed but frustrating for new users. A lot of this is a result of our iteration on the feature and not having anything work. A simpler version, not dependent on the Farcaster app, but not emphasized by it, would most likely mean other app developers could solve for various cases. And now with mini apps, you can imagine channel-specific clients as mini apps. Okay, so I got into this conversation with a bunch of people that, and I don't know that my thinking is right. I could be very wrong. But the way it was being posed in a couple ways was like, it could be a hashtag, but the hashtag just plops it into the channel. Okay, that's not a bad mechanism. But then the channels would be all open and it was more about distribution and it without any kind of membership, if you will. So you couldn't sort of keep it focused and curated. To me, that seems like a bad idea. From a brand perspective, from a wide, like food, travel, very broad topic ones, that makes perfect sense. And I think this is kind of the challenge, is that channels are used in different ways. Like the way we use GM Farcaster is really like informational. Here's where you can find all our stuff. We're not really, and we have our community members who are our hyper sub who can cast in there and things like that. But it's really not about like having a broad conversation in there. It's more about being able to have a centralized place that, I said centralized, $10. In a place, one-stop shop, if you will, for like everything you need to know about what's going on. And that was easier than having a brand account until very recently. Recently, now you can switch back and forth pretty easy, but that was very difficult not even a year ago, where you needed the seed phrase in order for someone else to log in. And it was challenging to share an account and things like that, or to even have 2 different accounts and go back and forth. Very hard. So channels made it much easier. And now it's more like habit. So I don't know. What are your thoughts on it, by the way? I know you saw all the conversation. Thoughts on that?
I saw a conversation last night and I did not have a chance to think about it. I saw you tagging me and I'm like, please don't make me talk about channels. It hurts my head. If you ask like 30 people in a room, there's 30 different opinions on what channels should be. It's a really hard design problem. People have strong opinions. I understand Dan's of like, it's not a priority because it wasn't leading
because
to
it's
growth.
not growing. It's not growing the daily active users, and that's why it's not a priority, which I appreciate there. Yeah.
Yeah. I totally get that. And I don't think, but I think it's a really hard problem to solve for. And last night I didn't have the bandwidth to read all of it and come up with an opinion prompt.
There's a lot. There's a lot.
Yeah.
There's a lot going on. Yeah. So it's a continuing discussion. And part of what they're talking about in terms of making a change also supposedly would make it easier for others to build around channels and maybe unlock the whatever. So
yeah. And I think Dan thinks about it right. And like they serve different needs, right? Like right now, like what is. So from a hashtag perspective, Dan has been very vocal and others as well of like hashtags are not only cringe, they're cringe because they're not necessary anymore. So like in the early days of social, people used hashtags. It was a great way to categorize information. People abuse hashtags. As soon as they get popular, you're going to spam them because that's where attention is. And with machine learning now, you don't need it. Like the computers are better at categorizing information than humans. I'm like a hashtag fan because I do it for myself. So it's like the network doesn't need a hashtag.
Yeah.
I like hashtags because I categorize things. It's like it's in my own information system. I like between me, the computer, and my brain, I use hashtags because it's like canonically categorizing my thoughts. I get why they're not necessary anymore in social. But then when it comes down to kind of like communities and panels and niche, I think that's so important. I think it could be a massive growth
I do too.
lever for the network, but I can also see that it'd be really hard to do from a small centralized team to turn, because that's where it's like you need lots of different, like lots of small dispersed decentralized teams building it to figure out, because every channel may look a little different for every community. Like every community might want something a little different. So I don't know. I think it's just a tough design space. Maybe.
I think so too. Yeah. I think I kind of get all the reasoning behind wanting to make a change, but I think there are aspects that work really well for communities right now that would be Here's what I don't want. Before they added some of the moderation and changing it up, there was spam that was impossible to keep on top of, and it made some of the channels completely like unusable. And even ours, like, which didn't get as like even a fraction of some of the other ones, it was like me constantly hiding from channel. And I don't want to go back to that. So that's why I get a little nervous when they want to take away some of the moderation stuff. So
Yeah.
that's
And I
all.
feel like people want, when I onboard people, it's like, okay, and this could just be something that they're kind of trying to map behavior to other
Right.
applicate, but it's like, where do I post this? I want to, oh, I'm sharing
Right.
food. I want to share this with other food people. So
Right.
um,
And I
yeah,
think it's
people, there's
like
opinions.
those, yeah, I know it's tough. So maybe making it easier for new people to onboard to a channel that is broad topic might be the way. I don't know. But there we go.
Or, I mean, the other thing too is they're saying they're like, and by the way, and Dana said they're not taking away channels. Like, not
They're not
this is
taking away
a
channels. It's a
conversation. If you have
discussion. Yeah.
opinions, yeah, if you have opinions, like add them to the thread. Like,
Yeah.
go add the replies. Like, have the conversation. Um, I think what they're talking about though, it's like, oh, you don't need hashtags because the algorithm can find them for you. But Farcaster hasn't given us those tools yet. So it's not like they're surfacing.
Right.
Only have we recently seen like trending topics. So let's say
Right.
I think about my topics, travel. I like Farcaster still. I love, food or photography. The only way I can find those today is by going to the channel.
Right.
So if you're telling me the algorithm can find those for me, fine, but it hasn't yet. So
It
I haven't been
hasn't.
able to
Right.
see it. So maybe what the thing is don't change channels, build something alternative that lets people discover content, and then we're not so attached to the manual channels.
Yeah. Yeah, that might be the way. I don't know. I also like, I like seeing the channel tag. Sometimes it gives me context to what somebody is casting. Like when I see where they casted it, like, oh, there's some context there. So
That's a hashtag.
I know.
It's
I know.
like it,
I know.
and I feel the same way
Yeah.
too. Like
Yeah.
when I cast about GM Farcaster a lot, and
Yeah.
if I just write GM Farcaster the words and you don't know who I am and you're seeing it for the first
Right.
time, you have no idea what that is. If I do /GM Farcaster, all one word, that becomes an entity. So you're like, okay,
Yep.
that's something. And if you click through, it takes you to our page. And
Right.
I mean, it's
Right.
same as we could
Useful
tag GM
information.
Farcaster, but yeah.
Right. Right. And that's what I also said. I'm like, from a brand perspective. So there was also a discussion at one point of like, well, you'll be able to use it the same, but you'll have to use a different client. And I'm like, I don't see brands doing that. Like switching, just unless that client becomes so much more useful than the current ones that I'm using. And maybe it would. I don't know. But otherwise, I would see like I'd be more likely just to shift to we'll just start using at GM Farcaster more or something like that. So, which I don't really want to do because it's a pain in the butt.
Yeah.
So it's more about laziness. Anyway,
Oh, we got some hashtag fans today.
hashtag fans. Yeah, I see a lot of hashtag fans. Yep. And then others who are like, no, don't go back. I hate hashtags.
Yeah.
So we have both. And I think
I think
that's
this is
the
another
challenge.
example.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I think this is like Dan's Twitter experience. Like his perspective and is like he's got a large following on Twitter.
Right.
And so I think when he was building even like early Farcaster days, like you would see him optimizing for the experience of someone with a large following as opposed to a DevOps nobody who's got like 30 followers on Twitter. That's me.
Right.
I was like, why are you prioritizing certain things, like if you remember, like even the notifications, like the notification spams, or like you were talking, and grouping things. Like if you're an average everyday user, you don't need priority notifications because you're not getting tagged in a million different things. But Dan's getting tagged. I mean, I can't even imagine the number of tags he's people are tagging him in. So he's building things for one. So I think from the hashtag perspective, like the hashtags that I used on Twitter would not get spammed because they wouldn't get so big. I'd go to like a conference with 600 people and we would all use a hashtag permissionlessly. And then you could use that hashtag and search and meet people. And I didn't need to pay $25 in warps to create it or buy an NFT to post in it, right? Permissionless. And it was so useful. And then I think Dan seeing the other side, which is, oh, we're going to use this hashtag that takes over kind of like the topic of the day, then that gets spammed. So different perspectives.
It's the trending. It's the trending plus hashtag. So that's what would happen on Twitter is that all of a sudden this hashtag would be trending. People would take it over and it would become like useless because it was no longer capturing that particular information. It was just people trying to capture attention. Slash
Can we have hashtags, Dad? Yeah, we have hashtags at home.
We have we have slash tags at home. I love that. I'm like, oh, also even from your shirt, I'm like, let's not lose the slash because
this will become
we've taken to it.
Retro. It'll become retro. Like if you I think we were early, we will always have this slash tag.
Slash tags. All right, that is it. I had one last quick thing that I'm just going to say really fast. This is really fun. Have you played this yet? It's like Fruit Ninja, but it's with your faces, and it's pretty funny. It's so cute. I love it. It's so cute.
Too slow for me. Like it was like too slow. I was finding it frustrating.
Oh, funny.
I don't know.
Funny.
I like the fact. Okay, give me mini word.
I like the fact that it's people's. I like the fact that it's people's PFPs. I just think that's fun. So anyway,
are we allowed to show Vista's CNN video?
Oh,
I have it.
Yes,
I have it ready.
You have it ready? Yes, I had it ready too, and I almost forgot. Go ahead. Great way to end.
Just because, is it window or tab to get volume? Tab. Okay.
Yeah, and make sure it's up because that volume sometimes is low.
Okay. So
click on the
yeah.
And make sure it's all the way up.
Okay. So do we need an intro on this? We're gonna
just play it.
And in other news, Farcaster, the decentralized crypto social network, is launching a new Pro subscription tomorrow. Over to Kendra for the details.
Farcaster Pro is launching tomorrow for $120. Day one subscribers will get an exclusive NFT and a new badge on their profile.
Sir, will you be subscribing to Pro day one?
Depends. Is it going to be 721 or not? That's what I want to know.
Yeah, I guess we'll have to find out.
Farcaster Pro drops at 1 p.m. Pacific tomorrow. Maybe you can use those noise tips to subscribe.
So freaking good.
Okay. It depends. Is it going to be 721 or not?
721?
Use the noise tips. Okay.
But also, we're so getting put out of business.
You know what?
So good. So
in the meantime, let's just have fun.
So funny. So well done, Vista. Well done. I had it ready because I had it in a separate window and I forgot. Thank you for remembering. So that I could, I wanted to share the tab. So funny. So really good, but also I feel for our friends in real journalism because they're going to be fighting a lot. It's going to be hard.
It's good to be a fake journalist today.
Yeah. It's going to be rough. All right. And with that, everybody, anything else? By the way, no. I was editing the next thing from FarCon, and I'm just waiting for one thing, but if it does not appear today, we're going to start putting those out starting tomorrow. So I think we'll have that ready in the afternoon. So more on that, but the keynote if you were at FarCon, or if you missed it, we'll have that available starting tomorrow. So one way or another.
Seems like people have forgotten already.
It's been a whole
remember
like
it.
2 weeks. Yeah. maybe 3 weeks. You know what I really love are the videos of FarCon, the beta. Oh, that's right. Those took like 2 years. And I don't even think we've ever seen them. Are they up finally?
Yeah,
Okay.
they're on YouTube. We should.
Okay.
Yeah.
But that was like, so, I mean, that took a couple years. So I'm not feeling too bad.
So we can
with
be
my
nice.
3 weeks.
You're saying, yeah.
Yeah. With my 3 weeks. All right, everybody.
We're back tomorrow at a certain time. What time? Normal? I know we don't know. I've been trying to schedule guests.
Don't we have somebody tomorrow?
We'll announce on the timeline later today whether that's happening. I don't think it is yet. We're having some
just
scheduling complex.
Should we just go with the West Coast friendly time just in case?
Sure.
Okay. So
Just
we'll be
for
on
our
at
West Coast friends.
11:30 a.m. Eastern tomorrow because we didn't do a West Coast on Monday. We might have a guest. We might not. We'll let you know. We might have other things. We might not. We'll let you know. All right, everybody. And I think that's it. So thank you for hanging with us for the 250th episode of GM Farcaster. And with that, everybody,